Hi guys, this is Carolina Varsity. We're in 2015. This is going into week 9. We're going to talk about the playoffs for the MeCKa conference. I'm Dale Ross.
And I'm Matt Morrow, the Pep Man, and taking a look at the standings in the MeCKa right now, we got two teams tied for first in Huff and A.L. Brown. Huff 6-1 overall, A.L. Brown 7-0 overall, both 2-0 records in the conference. Followed up by them, tied for second are Mallard Creek and North Meck, both 2-1 in the conference. Mallard Creek 6-2 overall, North Meck 6-2 overall. Followed up by Vance, who's 1-1 in the conference and 5-2 overall, and both 0-3 and 1-7 and tied for fourth place will be Hopewell and West Charlotte.
Okay. So in looking at playoffs, we're going to do a couple of things here. First, I took a look at who's there from my view, or not looking at the Carolina Varsity's North Carolina High School report. 6 teams in the MeCKa have 6 wins, so those teams are in, and that's A.L. Brown, Huff, Mallard Creek, and North Mecklenburg.
Very impressive.
To take a look at obviously seeding, and I'm going to tell you what the projections are, but Brown has got to play Huff, Mallard Creek, then West Charlotte and Hopewell. So the next 2 weeks for Brown is going to tell where they're going to fall into, or at least going to tell us whether they get the number 1 seed. They win those 2 ball games. Obviously, we think they're going to be West Charlotte and Hopewell.
Yeah, you would think so. Yeah.
Huff has A.L. Brown, then they've got West Charlotte, North Mecklenburg, and Vance. So, and I think West Charlotte and North Mecklenburg are wins for them. Brown is a toss-up, and actually I got it read. That was from last week. That should be a yellow. I think that's a toss-up game. So Huff's got 2 toss-up games, in I believe, and I think you'd agree too. A.L. Brown and Vance, but they've already got Mallard Creek behind them. Mallard Creek's got a pretty tough road to go. They've got Vance, which should be a win, but probably is more of a toss-up.
I think it's a toss-up.
A.L. Brown, I have them as a toss-up. North Mecklenburg, I'm going to tell you, North has got Vance, Huff, and Mallard Creek to finish up with.
Ooh.
So they win those 3 ball games, depending on what happens up there with Brown. But North has got a good. Obviously, they've made the playoffs, and they're doing some good things up there. 5 wins, which is. You should get in with 5 wins. We got Vance and Mallard Creek, North Mecklenburg, Hopewell, and Huff are the teams they've got to finish up with.
Okay.
And we think that Mallard Creek is probably a loss, and North Mecklenburg actually, I believe, is going to end up being a toss-up. That game could be tougher. It should be a win for them, but depending on their health situation, Hopewell, of course, will win, and Huff most likely a loss right now as things look. But again, a toss-up game. And as you mentioned, Hopewell and West Charlotte, really they if they win 4 games, if they win their next 4 games, and they both have West Charlotte's got 1, 2, 3 games. Excuse me.
Well, they play each other this week.
So if they all win, or one of them wins the next 3 games, they'll get 4 wins. That used to be a magical. You had to get 4 wins to get in, and that is kind of one of the qualifying points. But 4 wins didn't get you in last year unless you placed. So just for the sake of where the North Carolina High School football report, this is what it thinks is going to happen. A.L. Brown gets the number 1 seed.
Okay.
Vance gets the number 2 seed. Huff gets the number 3 seed.
Where's Mallard Creek?
Mallard Creek and North Mecklenburg are going to be at-larges.
Wow.
So the report is saying Mallard Creek will finish 7-4 on the season. So obviously the report is picking them to lose to both Vance and Brown.
Wow.
That's going to be interesting. Of course, West Charlotte and Hopewell, no playoffs for either of those 2 teams.
Right.
So yeah, that would be we've gone from talking about Mallard Creek maybe being
3-time state champs.
Yeah, 3-time state champ and the best team to play in North Carolina high school
Mm-hmm.
to getting in that large bid into the playoffs. And of course, that would make them a very dangerous team.
You would not want to see them
No.
on the road in the
No.
first round.
You would probably,
Well, for them to be on the road.
yeah, on 7-4, they might make one home game. That's going to be tough. At 7-4,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be tough to get a home game, but they might make a home game that's right on the borderline.
At 8-9.
Yep, exactly. So you may be on the road in the first round, Mallard Creek, and actually through the whole playoffs, unless a lot of upsets occur. And you wouldn't want to have them coming in your house each week.
So this week they're picking Vance to beat Mallard Creek.
That's right.
Wow.
Picking Vance to beat Mallard Creek 32-30. That's what the report says. So that's a one-score game. You know, last year I was at that game, and Bear mentioned today a couple of plays.
Mm-hmm.
It was a difference in the game last year. It was one play, and it was one step and one play that cost Vance that ball game, and that was that punt, and one of the blockers stepped backwards, which you don't do. He stepped backwards right into the kicker, and the kicker punted the ball right into his back. If that kid does what he's normally supposed to do, Vance gets that punt off, they win the ball game, because Mallard Creek was not moving the ball on Vance in that ball game. They just were not. I don't think they would have moved it. Instead, Mallard Creek gets the ball inside the 1-yard line, and boom, touchdown. So, but this is a new season, and yeah, it's picking Vance to win this ball game. But it's a one-score game, so it's going to be a tight ball game, and of course, it's picking Brown in kind of a 18-point margin.
That's
to
interesting.
beat Huff. That's going to be interesting. See what Huff did. You got to figure they're riding high, right?
Oh yeah, they're confident. They feel like they figured some things out. Obviously beating Mallard Creek, and they're going to go up there to Brown, and they're going to take the best shot. Their coaching staff is coaching out of this world. For that team to do what they did to Mallard Creek after what I saw against Butler,
Right.
that is a huge 2-week turnaround.
Yeah.
I tell you, because that, wow.
So
That's a heck of a coaching job right there.
Obviously, one of the big questions right now is what's going on with Mallard Creek, and yes, obviously, if you're not inside the program, that's hard to answer, and it might even be hard for people inside the program to get a good handle on why this is happening. They've lost to good teams, yes, but we weren't picking them to lose these ball games at the start of the season. Huff is obviously playing better than we thought they would.
Mm-hmm.
But did we ever think, and when you look at them, that they could play well enough to beat Mallard Creek? Is Mallard Creek beating themselves? We're going into the 9th week, and teams are who they are, apart from injuries, right?
Yeah.
So this team has not been a dominating team all year with the good teams. So,
well, I think that speaks a lot for this conference. I mean, we used to talk about the Southwest being the best conference top to bottom. This is the best conference.
No doubt.
Top to bottom. I think it's the best in the state.
Oh,
I'd put these guys up against anybody anywhere.
Well, the report last week had it as the best, conference, and we'll see what it says this week. But I don't think there's any doubt that those 5 teams that we have here qualifying, and if we're talking about a Mallard Creek being, finishing 4th in the conference, they're still a contender for the state championship.
Oh yeah.
So.
Oh yeah.
And North Mecklenburg is predicted to finish at 6-5, having a great year, and I've had an opportunity to see them, and they're a very solid team.
Mm-hmm.
Would do well in any other conference, and you throw them into some of these conferences around the state, they'd win the conference.
Mm-hmm.
So, very, very good. No doubt, is this as good as the Southwestern 4A was at its peak? It might be.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. That's a good debate.
That's a good debate. Of course, those conferences had independents, dominating and winning
think there's more
championship.
parity
There's more
here
parity.
than there was back then with independence.
Right.
But top to bottom, I think, yes, this one.
I agree. Well, there you go. That's the MeCKa conference, and what looks like was going to happen with the playoffs. With the way things happened this past week, maybe
It'll be all screwed up next week.
there's going to be a few changes. Exactly. But it looks like you got 5 teams going to the playoffs. Thanks for watching.